You can't bully me anymore.
Calm down.
I don't have to do
Girl, bye.
Fine.
You ain't ready.
a waste of my time.
And that was so childish.
Look how you look as a mother.
Get out of my room.
Don't touch
Kenny,
me.
I will not.
Don't let me go.
She didn't simply snap. Jackie Christie snaps. The entire world is now watching in disbelief. In the most recent Basketball Wives episode, a heated argument between Jackie and her daughter Chantel descended into unadulterated, explosive violence. No cameras, stop recording. Producers did not intervene. On national television, Jackie got to her feet and gave her own daughter a face slap. People all over the nation could hear the gasp in that room. Suddenly, years of suppressed trauma, envy, partiality, and generational suffering erupted. Chantel did not simply accept the blow. She retaliated, accusing Jackie of body shaming, colorism, and inciting her daughters to fight against one another in order to boost her own self-esteem and reputation. It didn't end there, though. Jackie's other arranged daughter, Takari, stepped in to support Jackie within hours. Social media also took off. Old clips came back. Images of Jackie comparing her girls' weights and skin tones and setting them against one another like pawns in a vicious game were reposted on fan pages. British Williams, a cast member, is now voicing his opinion, criticizing Chantel's hypocrisy and raising doubts about her intentions. Is this a storyline or is it about healing? Drama is no longer all that this is. It's entertainment disguised as emotional warfare. And it's a straightforward question that everyone is asking now. How can you give your own daughter a slap and then act as if nothing occurred? Jackie is no longer the sole focus of this. This is about what occurs when a mother's reputation takes precedence over the suffering of her kids. You haven't seen anything yet if you believed the slap to be the pinnacle.
Mom, if I get Dad on this phone right now, it's gonna go left.
Stop acting like a child, Chenny.
Okay.
This is not where you should have come.
You sound like Brandy.
You shouldn't have come.
Girl, go ahead.
You shouldn't have come.
Mom, go ahead.
Period.
Go
and
ahead.
calling my husband is a mistake.
Do you understand that's
Period.
my father?
Period.
Do you hear
Girl,
yourself?
bye. Girl, bye.
Do you
Bye.
hear yourself? My
Chantel,
biological
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Listen to
Listen,
yourself,
stop
Jackie.
yelling.
Listen
Stop yelling.
to
You're making
yourself.
a fool of yourself.
That's
You're
my
making a fool of
father.
yourself. Girl,
My
bye.
biological-
Bye.
listen
You're
to
on dope.
yourself.
You're.
Over
I'm
your
gone.
head.
I'm gone.
You sound
I'm
crazy.
gone. I'm leaving.
She said what she knew would make Jackie lose it. Jackie didn't think twice either. On camera, she got up, lifted her hand, and gave her own daughter a full palm, forceful slap. This wasn't a performance. It wasn't scripted. This hurt. Violent, uncensored, and generational. And in that one terrifying Basketball Wives moment, the darkest secrets of the Christie family were no longer just rumors. They were made public, irrefutable, and immortalized. Jackie, let's face it, Christie has a history. The domineering mother, the attention-seeking spouse, and the queen of chaos. However, no one anticipated that she would hit her daughter while filming. The room fell silent as the actors, crew, and cameras surrounded it. The producers froze as well. Chantel held her face in shock. And there wasn't a breakdown that followed. It was a volcanic eruption. She did not cry. She stayed put. In front of everyone, she let out years of suffering, trauma, and rage. Do you believe this to be something new? Do you really believe that this slap marks your first attempt to harm me? Throughout my life, you have been slapping me with your words, your silence, and your games. It felt as though something had broken. Chantel accused Jackie of putting her against Takari and claiming that she was too fat, too dark, and unworthy of being Jackie's daughter. Mom, she claimed that when she was younger, Jackie forced her to run on a treadmill while her lighter-skinned sister observed and made notes.
Mom created a sense of competition with me when it comes to my father. For you to believe that I can't turn to my dad in a time of need, but you can, it's delusional at best.
Give it some thought. As if she were a weight loss experiment, a mother would tell one of her daughters to run while the other timed her. Jackie did nothing but stare. No apology, no denial, just the same smirk that has caused fans to yell at their televisions for years. Takari joined the conversation just when you thought things couldn't get any worse. Within hours, she went live on Instagram defending Jackie rather than Chantel. What happens behind the scenes is unknown to you all. My sisters were always complaining, demanding attention, and playing the victim. The internet was rocked. This was more than a family disintegrating. In 4K, a family was imploding. In addition to old interviews, TikToks, and Chantel's tell-all book, Fans also pulled receipts and videos from previous seasons in which Jackie publicly disparaged her daughter's appearance, as well as remarks about skin tone, weight, and how Chantel wasn't built like a model. Then came the Basketball Wives cast member Brittany, who hasn't been involved much up to this point. After sharing a mysterious Instagram story, she jumped right in. "Oh, she's a victim now. You wrote a whole book about your mom just to get a plot point, didn't you? Go offline, girl. Wow, 3 against 1 now." Chantel wasn't going to back down, though. On TikTok, she retaliated. "She hasn't met any of your 3 children. However, you wish to sit on the internet and joke about me? You're upset because Jackie never did for you what she claims to do for everyone else." The reality TV moment had become a full-fledged family conflict zone, and the gloves were off. And admirers, they were consuming it. Opinions poured into the comment sections. Some are supporting Chantel and accusing Jackie of being an emotional abuser and manipulator. Others argue that Chantel should stop sharing her trauma as entertainment and that she only wants a plot. One comment, however, caught my attention. "On national television, you slapped your kid. After that, you are not allowed to weep over being misinterpreted. Let's not misunderstand. This was more than a single slap. This covered all of its predecessors. Missed birthdays, unspoken love, and times when Jackie put the cameras before her children." Jackie was once accused by Takari of failing to pay her a visit while she was in a mental health facility. Chantel said that Jackie wouldn't let her take family photos because she was too dark. Jackie's greatest moment this season isn't bonding, empowering, or mentoring. It's hitting her kid in a fit of rage. Jackie continues to avoid discussing it. She waved it off when questioned directly about the incident during a confessional. "I'm not referring to Chantel here. Absolutely not. Growth isn't that. It's not mature. That mother is prioritizing appearance over responsibility. Even worse, those around her are making it possible." Takari posts a mysterious point of view TikToks, makes fun of her sister. Brittany is utilizing the feud to guarantee her place at the reunion for the upcoming season. Jackie, on the other hand, is keeping quiet because it's safer than speaking the truth. However, the truth is now loud. You can't slap your daughter and then claim family privacy. You can't use your children as emotional weapons for 20 years and then act shocked when they finally have had enough. When the injury is caused by your own actions, you do not get to be the victim. Regardless of your feelings for her, Chantel did something that most people never do. She made a statement. The rot was revealed by her. What happens in the family stays in the family, goes the unwritten rule, and she broke it. She brought it in front of the camera. She made the world aware of it. It's messy too. It hurts, indeed. However, sometimes the ugly truth comes before the healing. We must be truthful. One of the most startling, awkward, and authentic moments in Basketball Wives history just aired, and it cannot be undone. There was more to this slap than just violence. It was a sign that the days of using expensive bags and planned brunches to hide dysfunction in the family were coming to an end. That just because the cameras stop recording doesn't mean that the suffering these women endure goes away. And what comes next? No one is aware. That slap wasn't the start, though, that much is certain. That was the tipping point. The entire Basketball Wives universe exploded when Jackie's hand touched Chantel's cheek. And it was more than just pain that poured out. It was a mother-daughter conflict that had been simmering for years, decades of denial and hidden animosity. It exploded now. Chantel did not simply weep, she passed out on the set. She whispered, her voice shaking, "She hit me. I got hit by my own mother." The footage continued to roll. The crew was hesitant, unsure of whether to step in and stop the mayhem or to stay put. Some members of the cast stood motionless. But what followed caught everyone off guard. Because Takari burst in at that moment, his eyes blazing and his voice shaking with anger. Jackie's other daughter was determined to avoid a repeat of the past. "No, not now. Mom, you've always done this," she yelled. "You set us up against one another and then pretend to be the victim." Jackie turned around. "You have no right to approach me in such a manner. I brought you up for you. I did everything." Takari, however, did not hear it. "No, not now. No, everything you did was for you, for your ego, for your show, for your image." It was oppressively tense in the room. Producers frantically worked behind the scenes to stop the filming, but too much of the slaps, screams, and family breakup had already been caught on camera. It had gone viral by the time security showed up, using hashtags like Jackie slap Chantel and Basketball Wives meltdown. Clips of the slap went viral on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. There was disagreement among the fans. Jackie's removal from the show was demanded by some. Others called for a public apology. And then there were others who looked further, finding years of video that suggested the emotional abuse Jackie's daughters had previously alluded to, but were never taken seriously. The evidence was indisputable now. Resurfaced were old interview clips in which Chantel sobbed about feeling unloved. Suddenly, podcasts and gossip blogs were repeating Takari's previous charges regarding Jackie's partiality. Former co-stars even weighed in, claiming that they had witnessed Jackie disparage her daughters behind the scenes for years, but were too afraid to speak up. She's more than just a domineering mother. According to an unnamed insider, she's a narcissist. And this slap was the complete removal of her mask. Chantel, meanwhile, became silent. She didn't upload anything. She wasn't on Twitter. She didn't participate in interviews. Before she posted a single Instagram story 2 days later, she vanished from the public eye. She had a bruised cheek in the picture, just pain, no words, no caption. At that point, the media machine really got going. Psychologists were invited by talk shows to examine the trauma of parental abuse in the public eye. The focus of cultural commentary shifted to Black family dynamics. Advocates for mental health overflowed the timeline, claiming that this was more than just drama. This was the dismissal of generational pain as amusement. But she doubled down, Jackie. She said, "I'm not perfect, but I will always discipline my children when they step out of line," while staring into the camera during a now famous live stream. Self-control. That word caused a commotion. She is not a kid, she's an adult. They yelled, "You go to therapy instead of slapping your daughter on national television to discipline her." Brittany added her voice just when the criticism seemed to be getting worse. On Twitter, Jackie's longtime friend and former co-star lit a match. Since the first season, Jackie has been crazy. She broke cameras, yelled at producers, and is now hitting her own blood, as I witnessed. You are finally witnessing what we endured. Jackie Christie was open season. She was taken off the show after petitions were started. Text messages from old friends began to leak. She used to yell at Chantel about her weight and call her a liability in front of VH1 executives, one former stylist wrote in a direct message. The truth wasn't merely leaking. It was flooded. The show's fans, who had once admired Jackie as the franchise's fearless, no-nonsense queen bee, were abandoning her. You cannot hit your daughter and then act like the victim on TV. That's not strength, that's manipulation, read one widely shared video. Takari, in the meantime, didn't hold back during her candid live stream on YouTube. "We have always been taken advantage of by my mother. In her plot, we were pawns. She told us to be tough when we cried. She claimed we were ungrateful when we questioned her. She slapped Chantel as if she were insignificant after she said something that annoyed her." Support exploded in the comment section. People started telling their own tales of being silenced, being hit and told it was love, and having toxic mothers. Millions of people could see their own trauma reflected back at them from Chantel's suffering, and Jackie said nothing at all. There was no public repentance or apology, only a well-planned silence that seemed more calculating than sincere. It was said that VH1 was in crisis mode, the damage had already been done, and the producers were unsure whether to aid, assist, or cut out the scene. The leak was discovered. Any attempt to censor the footage now would be interpreted as a cover-up, as it was spreading like wildfire. Since what transpired that day involved more than just Jackie and Chantel, it was too late to put the pieces back together. Even basketball wives weren't the only topic of discussion. It dealt with what happens when suffering turns into gain. The moment when a mother's slap turns into amusement. When reality TV ceases to be reality and turns into a ratings-driven battleground of dysfunctional families. In the midst of the chaos, a daughter sat quietly, her heart broken and her face still bruised, knowing that the world only witnessed drama during her most vulnerable moment. However, drama was never important to her. It was about a decades-long slap in love that descended into conflict. Another emotional bomb exploded right after you thought everything had calmed down and the producers had switched to commercial in an attempt to regain control of the chaos. Chantel did not remain quiet. She became live. Eyes full of unshed tears, voice trembling but angry, hair still messed up. Chantel picked up her phone, stared directly into the camera, and spoke the words that would shatter the legacy of her entire family. You all saw that. You all witnessed what my mother did to me. It's not just television, that's my life. And I'm done keeping her safe. In less than 4 hours, 2.3 million people watched the live stream. She accused Jackie of being emotionally abusive, manipulative, and fixated on controlling every story. She was accused of using crocodile tears to cover up lies, gaslighting the entire family for years, and inciting sisterly conflict for television ratings. He then made the most serious charge of all. I never felt like I was enough because of you. I was too emotional, too thick, and too dark, you said. You have never loved me as much as you love the cameras. Like gasoline and flame, the comment section exploded. Jackie will always be canceled. It's not a mother-daughter dispute. This is the obvious manifestation of generational trauma. VH1 turned off the dreadful cameras. This is too authentic. Jackie, however, refused to give up. With a grenade-like Instagram story, she retaliated. I brought you up. I gave you food. I got you dressed. And the gratitude I receive is this. You're an ungrateful little girl. Remember who provided you with the opportunity to speak at all. Terry then made his way onto the battlefield. After writing a whole book accusing Jackie of neglect and favoritism, the long-abandoned daughter has now made a triumphant comeback. She shared 2 videos, one of Jackie slapping Chantel and another of her own therapy session from years ago in which she described her mother's cruel remarks and emotional abandonment. Caption, the same trauma, different daughter. Until now, the world simply didn't believe me. People started making connections all of a sudden. Old episodes came back. The receipts began to fly in. 2013 tweets, discussions on Reddit, unwatched video. Even veteran producers left anonymous comments. A production memo that stated, "Do not interrupt Jackie during emotional scenes" was leaked by one crew member. Go ahead and let it roll. We must have the ratings. Explosive drama had given way to a troubling investigation in this story. Another cast member and bombshell, Brittany, followed. In a shocking interview, Brittany acknowledged that the producers actively promoted fights between Jackie and her daughters by promoting fictitious betrayals, spreading false information behind the scenes, and even rewarding on-camera breakdowns with bonuses. Brittany, however, didn't stop there. Jackie was forced to decide between being the star and being a good mother, and she consistently opted for fame. The backlash became intolerable. Not only were the viewers angry, they were appalled. There have been petitions calling for VH1 to halt the show. Companies that had previously supported Basketball Wives stopped doing so. For 72 hours in a row, Boycott Jackie Christie was popular, even used subtle shade to cast seasoned actors like Evelyn Lozada and Tammy Roman. Some people will sell their soul and their children for a storyline, Tammy tweeted. I couldn't be it. Chaos was quickly erupting behind the scenes. Jackie allegedly left the set in a rage. It was reported that her husband, Doug Christie, pleaded with producers to stop the next shoot, but it was too late. There has been damage. Family was broken. Internet on fire. Chantel, meanwhile, said nothing for a full day. She then went live once more, exactly like before. This time, however, there were only tears, no yelling, and no trembling hands. Only strength. Her voice was calm but full of truth as she said, "You don't have to keep loving someone who keeps hurting you. My relationship with my mom was ruined by this show. However, perhaps you will realize that I am not the bad guy now. As a daughter, I simply deserved better." It was not a retort. A microphone dropped, and because what began as a single slap turned into a movement, everyone paid attention. Fans were compelled to consider, how much reality are we willing to consume before it destroys actual lives? In an exclusive podcast, former Basketball Wives producer Carlos King even acknowledged publicly, there were times we pushed too far. Jackie was taken advantage of, as were her daughters in particular, and for good reason. The audience was no longer amused by the fake news style narrative since it had strayed into actual trauma. They were angry. Some insisted that Jackie apologize publicly. Some wanted the executives at VH1 fired. Some even launched campaigns to give Chantel a platform of her own, free from the violence and manipulation of reality TV, so she could tell her story as she saw fit. But Jackie refused to back down. "Let them talk," she captioned a photo she shared of herself drinking wine while wearing a fur coat. Legends never die. The legend, however, was already crumbling. Sponsors canceled. Taping of the reunion was put on hold indefinitely. Fans began to ask the question that no one had previously dared to ask after Chantel allegedly filed legal complaints with the network over emotional distress and workplace abuse. Is this abuse with a camera crew, or is it just entertainment? It's possible for the screen to turn black. The suffering, the betrayal, and the scars continue even after the season finale ends. And that's the tragedy of it all. We labeled it content when we saw a mother slap her daughter. We called it ratings gold when we saw family fall apart. Trauma became a timeline trend because of us. We also failed to remember that these are actual people, tears, and brokenness. Therefore, if you have witnessed this chaos and still believe that this is just another instance of reality to laugh at, you may also be contributing to the issue, since this is no longer reality TV. It's heartbreaking, and this is real. And what that one slap ruined cannot be undone by spin. And even after everything we've witnessed, the slap, the scream, the betrayal, the backlash, one question still plagues every viewer who witnessed this mayhem. How are you going to recover from this? How can a mother act as though it was just another Tuesday while slapping her daughter on national television? How does a family break up so loudly and violently and then act as though a reunion hug or a staged apology can mend it? You do not, because it wasn't amusement. This was trauma in designer clothes. Millions of people saw this family breakup, which was shared for likes, retweets, and ratings. Jackie Christie did not simply lose her temper. She might have lost her daughter forever. Even worse, it appears that she doesn't give a damn. Already, the internet has taken sides. Jackie is defended by some who refer to her as a tough love mother. Some people are furious and believe she should be kicked off the show completely. The sisters Chantel and Takari, who are the true victims here, are made to compete for their mother's love as if it were a prize. This isn't a plot point, it is a painful legacy. Therefore, consider what you are actually watching before scrolling past and moving on to the next viral meltdown. What does it say about us then? Because underneath the drama lies a damaged daughter, a broken family, and a matriarch who may have gone too far this time. This is not the end. Definitely not. The actual battle for the Christie legacy is just beginning, so be sure to stay tuned for the next chapter. Now subscribe, continue to be locked in. The truth is still being revealed, and it will only grow more sinister.